This is Mark Whitten.
This is Adam MacArthur.
This is Ann Yatko.
This is Molly Chung.
Hey everybody, this is Michael Yurchak.
This is Daquan Wilshire.
This is Lexi Nieto.
This is Rico Fajardo, and you're watching.
And you're listening to Spoiler Force Podcast. Set your heart ablaze.
All right, so this is episode 167 of Spoiler Force Podcast. My name is Ricky, and thank you for tuning in. As you can see, my guest this week is my cousin Moang. Thank you so much for hopping on this episode to talk about Final Fantasy VII Remake. This is long overdue because I never got the chance to play this game until like a couple months ago, or even less than that, maybe like a month and a half ago. But if you guys don't remember Moang was actually on the podcast several times when I was still living in Michigan. He was actually on the episode where we do my very first video podcast, so you can go check that out. I think we talked about like Ray Zero and all that stuff. And then the last time you were on, we talked about, was it the Attack on Titan episode when we had John on the show?
Yes, yeah, the three of us.
Yeah. Dang, it's been a hot minute because you've been doing your own thing. Like for the fans who are curious, Moang's been like doing Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu at Duke Rufus's
kickboxing.
It's kickboxing and Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu with Duke Rufus, and training with Sergio and Anthony Pentis out there.
Not training with them, not yet. I gotta get my blue belt in kickboxing and Jiu-Jitsu before you can train MMA.
Okay. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because I've been training some Muay Thai lately too, and that's all I've been talking about for the past couple of weeks because that's the only thing that I'm like excited about. And honestly, like maybe even I'll just say it on this episode, even like doing this episode, like I'm not dragging it, but like right now, like my gloves are literally just next to my chair, and I've been looking at like just tips and fight clips and all that stuff just to try to improve my stand-up game. But enough of the sports though. We're going to talk about Final Fantasy VII Remake. This game dropped around, what was it, 2019 when it dropped?
Yeah, right during COVID. Yeah, 2020, I believe. Yeah, 2020.
Yeah, it dropped right around the COVID times because that's when like everyone started streaming. You were streaming it. I actually stayed up and watched you play. I think I don't know if it was the whole night, but I stayed up and watched you play for quite a bit. But yeah, dude, let's get your thoughts on it first, man, because you got to play it when it first dropped. Mm-hmm. If you can recall, like what was your thoughts on this game when we were playing it for the first time and all that?
Yo, it's amazing, and it's such a good game, and I hate it. That's literally it. I think it was gonna be like an 11 out of 10, and then when I got towards halfway to the end, it just became like 8.5.
Yeah, I gotta say the beginning of the game is very fun, just because it's a whole different take, and like me just playing it recently, like I felt like a kid again just playing it. Just seeing all the callbacks from the old game, hearing the music, and just everything about this game was just very exciting. I regret not being able to play this when it first dropped because I missed out on all that excitement and everyone's talking about it. But yeah, dude, I loved it. Even now, like playing it I played it on the PS4. Unfortunately, I don't have a PS5, but even playing on the PS4, like the graphics still, like I'm still wowed by it. Just seeing how the character designs are, how even like they did like the skin CGI texture on the characters to make them look more real. And then even like I watched comparison videos of the PS5 upgrade versus PS4. Like it's still like, holy crap, man. It's crazy what they've done with this game, because even the games and the graphics, the cutscenes and all that are better than what we've seen in the movie a long time ago, compared to Advent Children. But yeah, man, like just, playing this game overall, dude, was there any parts that I of course we've enjoyed this game, but was there anything that you found that stood out to you while playing this game? Was it something in the gameplay, storyline, anything?
I mean, just most of it, like the first half, mostly the way that they fleshed out Jesse's and Biggs and Wedge's story was really good. Like the moment where they're gliding, when they finish the mission, they're gliding across like the Midgard, like that friendship moment with Cloud was one of the highest moments. Like, dude, this game's amazing. And then you look at what's his name? I forgot the guy's name. The other guy's name that was on the bike that was fighting Cloud.
Oh, I know. The soldier guy. I forgot his name. But I forgot his name. He was new to the game.
Yeah, and I thought that was great. That's how you added new stuff to Final Fantasy VII. And then like in the combat too, I think they did I think the combat's pretty solid, and I'm surprised how well it worked because it was like both like action and turn based, and they mixed it pretty well. But I mean, there's flaws in it too. Like the moment you unlock the counter strike, it's over. You just counter everything, you win.
Yeah. That was kind of my issue with the gameplay. I love like the whole like third person play, like kind of like Kingdom Hearts. I'm big on like aerial attacks, like in Kingdom Hearts, where you can jump and attack and actually do that on your own versus like just locking onto an enemy and then doing it. So I kind of wish there was like a jump option for Cloud, which they didn't have. But having that would have been, I think, a little bit more fun to play with. But I think overall the gameplay itself was fun. I like the ATB. The time based thing, because that actually makes it more challenging versus like, okay, do you want to use your magic or your items or your skills and all that? So that was a bit fun there. I didn't get to play hard yet. I once I beat the game, I was done. I didn't want to like go back and replay it, but I know that with the hard option, you can't use items, so that was actually something that was really cool to see too in the new game plus. Usually like new game pluses, it's always like you just restart the game and you just have all your shit with you. But in this game, they made it like more challenging when you play it on that level. Yeah, but I wanted to touch up on the Jessie part too, man, because like she was actually a character that I really liked in this game. In the original 7, they're kind of just there. Her, Biggs, and Wedge, they're just kind of background characters. You know who they are, and then there's really no connection with them. But I think for me, it was like seeing how you kind of learn more of Jessie's background, how and maybe we go see her parents and all that, and how her and Cloud kind of mingle together. And of course, it's clear that they show that Jessie likes Cloud a lot more than he likes her. And so I thought it was, yeah, exactly. I thought it was hilarious just seeing like how, yeah, I'll make you pizza if you come over, that type of deal. Yeah, so they make like these promises to each other, and it's kind of cool to see how they flesh out Cloud's character instead of being this stoic, no background, like mysterious guy. He's still that, but then you kind of see who he is. If you play the game, then knowing Cloud's character, like this persona that he has, it's not even really him. So I like that they fleshed that out more. Like you get to see this soldier side of Cloud where he's just, he's very kept to himself. He's just there for his mission, his money, and then you kind of see him open up more to like Jessie, Biggs, and Wedge. Did you have anything to add on to that as well, or like was there anything else that you wanted to say about like what you liked about the game?
I pretty much agree, because if you go back and play the original 7, Cloud was pretty stoic. He was more like just the main character that didn't really contribute much except for a big ass sword.
Yeah.
And like he didn't really do much. And I think it's fine because that's supposed to be his character anyways. But I think with the newer animations and the way that the graphics have gone, I think they did a better job at making it feel more real and nuanced. And even though he's still like stoic and he doesn't like trying not to feel emotion or whatever. And I think, I mean, there's a lot of spoilers too. Like him, it's almost just guilt. A lot of it is mostly guilt, and he's just trying to be someone he's not, and he's not. He's just looking for forgiveness. That was basically the whole thing. And I think that with like the better graphics, they're able to make him feel more human, even though he's like seemingly stoic. But the thing is, it's like we don't really learn all of the nuances until like towards the end of the game in the original game, because that's when when we finally find out that everything was a little spoiler. Well, we already know. You already played the original. I guess it's good.
I mean, if to anyone who has not played the original, this is major spoilers anyway, because this conversation is long overdue. So if you have not played the game yet, good luck.
Well,
good luck when you play Rebirth.
I mean, I'll do a small spoiler too. You kind of have to play the original game too to get the full experience of the remake. You have to play the original game, which is like a criticism what I have of the game, because I didn't want. I thought this was like my best excuse to get all my friends to play 7, because they're like, oh, I can't play 7. It's too old. The graphics are too old. Even though I still enjoy it. But it's like I wanted the remake for people, new fans, to play it. But the big issue is that I think people absolutely have to play the original game.
Oh yeah, definitely.
To truly enjoy remake, because remake it's not a remake. It's like part 4.
No, exactly, dude. Because I think Square Enix kind of got us with that. They definitely baited us with remake, because everyone wanted a new remake or rehash of Seven with the, because you remember how like how it was announced way back when PS3, like how
Oh yeah.
yeah, they're like, Final Fantasy VII is gonna be on PS3, and then like how Crisis Core was on the PSP handheld, so they were teasing that way back then already. And that was like what I was like around middle school, almost high school when that was coming out. I remember bringing my PSP with me and playing Crisis Core in the bus, and just seeing how they've made us wait all this damn time just to play this remake, just to say remake, and just to realize it's an alternate timeline. Like, what the hell? We were like, Tetsuya Nomura and all those guys, man, they got us good with that. But like you said, I agree. You have to play the original 7 storyline, even watch the movie to fully appreciate what this game is doing. Because I think for very new fans, if you just played this game without knowing the storyline, it's confusing as hell. Like especially like towards the end, right, where I even when I knew what was going to happen, since I watched you played it, but even through my experience playing, I was just like, damn, like this is different from the original. Even like them being in the Shinra building, like even some of those experiences were different from the game, from the original game. And so I liked what they were doing. I mean, overall, I liked what they were doing with their scheming with the storyline. Is just as someone who's playing the game, and when you're controlling the narrative, it was a little bit lackluster up to that point.
And I will say that even though they added a lot of good things, I think they also added too much. For example, during the earlier missions where they blew up the second reactor, and they revealed that they had revealed that everything was already kind of planned, like all like the Shinra already had everything planned. Whereas I like the original one where it was a bit more ambiguous, and it wasn't clear who the good guys or bad guys were. But my issue with the remake, especially in the earlier parts, is they made it super clear who the good guys and bad guys were. But I like the nuance of like the eco terrorism, whether it's good or bad, because you're still hurting people regardless. And but in the game, they kind of just made it super clear that the bad guys are just straight up bad. There's no moral complexity, which is actually what the original had. There was actually like sometimes you can do more by saying less. And
Yeah.
that's what they did. That's what Act 7 is. The original 7 game, there's not a lot, but there's a lot.
You think it could be due to the fact that like there's voice actors now too? I think maybe something small like that, details like that, could all kind of like change the narrative of the game too.
I think it's just padding. Just padding.
Padding?
Yeah. There's so much padding. That's like my probably one of the top issues with just the game itself with padding. Because the problem with padding is when you do another rerun from part 1, 2, and 3, whatever they have, it's gonna feel like a slog. Because like imagine the entire series is done, 1, 2, and 3, or 4, or whatever, right? And then you just want to do another full run through the entire series. Then you realize how bad the padding is. Like
Yeah.
it's gonna be and it's not. It's part. And you have to play it. That's the problem. Like you have to play a lot of the padding.
And that was one thing I didn't like either, was like I mean, side quests are fun, but I was dragging that shit when I was playing it. And then I, being someone who, that's why I don't play games anymore either, because like I get so hooked onto the stuff, like I got it like 100% everything, even though I didn't. But like just all the side quests and shit, like I was like, man, I gotta get this shit out the way. I want to just do it, and so I was up all night just getting all that shit done. I kind of wish they kind of like it was cool, to see that world building, and they added that Shinra kid too, that the kid that works for Shinra. That was a cool addition to the storyline. And then just seeing more of the people of Midgar, like especially like Sector 7 and Sector 5, and seeing and the Red District. I forgot what they called it in the game, but where Corneo is at, like that little area, like that was cool that they kind of like fleshed that out to you, and you meet more characters. It's just I really wanted more of the main storyline in this first game. Like I said, versus where they cut it off in the game. I wanted more, like even if they had to cut it to like to Calm in that area, I would have liked to have at least got out of Midgar at the end of the game, versus like where you just see them just about to leave.
I think it's okay if they don't leave Midgar. I think the best utopian way would have been, like like the first half was really good. The way they added in Jesse and everything else. What they should have done was it should have been like a 20-hour game. It should have just made the main story a 20-hour game and just like focused on that story, that portion that what we got, and instead of adding so much, and then added a ton of extra side missions for optional stuff, rather than, I think like one of the most annoying ones is when you had to go find the grappling hook. You had to chase that monster down, and
Oh yeah, when
that
you're
was like,
climbing the Shinra building.
yeah, that's so
Yeah, yeah.
pointless. And I did not care about that side character, whatever his name, and his wife or whatever. That I just did not care about that at all. I just give me the grappling hook so I can go up and save Aerith.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's there was just a lot of the additional characters, which was cool. Like I said, just to kind of add more life into this game. But I think when it comes down to our main characters, what was your thoughts on that? Just seeing like how they, I guess, hearing because they recasted the cast for this game versus the original cast from the movie. So for fans who don't know, that's why like this was also kind of a big deal, because when initially I believe the original cast was hired at first, and then I think once they started working on the game, that's when they just like, nope, recast them. So the characters we hear in this game are completely new, or not new actors, but they're different actors, and that's why they're when we get down to our theories later on in this episode, we're going to talk about it too, like how how this is an actual alternate timeline versus being the main storyline or main
Mhm.
timeline.
It's a remake of the original timeline.
Yeah.
It's not a remake of the game; it's a remake of the timeline.
Yeah, well, what was your thoughts on these? I guess just these new actors. Were they stand
I was
out to you, or I mean, did it really matter to you?
Uh, it didn't matter. I think it's like it doesn't have to be amazing, and as long as it's like good enough. I think it wasn't really because I played on both Japanese and English,
Mhm.
and obviously Japanese is more superior. But but no, I guess I didn't really think about it much at all. No, I thought the voice acting was good enough. I think that's pretty good. I mean, and the only ones that really matter the most are just the main cast and Sephiroth, and I think they all did a pretty good job. Like I think it doesn't really matter as long as it isn't bad. Like none of it was bad.
Yeah. Same, like that's what I thought too. Like I liked what they did, how these actors definitely um they did really, I thought they did really good, just for even for the English cast. Like they did really good
Mhm.
too. My only issue was I wasn't too big on Barrett's voice. Like I eventually I got used to his voice,
Yeah,
but then like they made him so like Mr. T in this game, and it's just like, bro, like the dude's from the fucking 80s, man. Like I wish they kind of changed up his voice a little, because I liked his voice in Japanese a
Mhm.
lot more. But then like his English voice, I kind of wish they didn't give him that stereotypical voice.
Yeah,
They should have given something a little bit more rugged, a little more not so much calm, but just like not so Mr. T like, like,
yeah.
oh man, the earth is this, nah, 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 nah. It's like, no, I didn't like that.
I, I think on the flip side though, people might have gotten mad if they didn't do that too, because he was pretty much like that during the original game as well.
Yeah, well, yeah, when you're reading the dialogue in the
And
original game,
he
you
didn't
kind of,
swear enough. I wish he swore a lot more because he swears so much in the original game.
yeah, because they didn't have this part in the remake where Cloud goes down the elevator at Seventh Heaven and Barrett's punching the punching bag,
Yeah.
and like he goes through this whole dialogue where he's like, it's just a bunch of like signs and stuff, because to let the viewers know he's swearing. So they didn't have that, and that was a little bit different
Mm.
too. I mean, and since we're on like the subject, but like, seeing these subtle differences in this game versus the original, did it make you feel, I guess, differently about the game then? I know, like you said, like towards the end, you didn't really like it, but just seeing how there was just like little slight adjustments here and there, small little details that they don't really show in the original versus in this one.
I think if you mention it now, I would say I do prefer the original Barrett over the new one because the new one felt more like a tsundere. Like he felt like he cared too much about Cloud. He was kind of he was like a tsundere, bro. You could
Yeah,
see that he cared a lot about Cloud, but I
he
felt like
won't
in the
admit
original,
it.
yeah, but I felt like in the original one, that's not how it really. I didn't interpret it that way in the original. The original
Mhm,
was like more like he didn't care. He just swore and he saw Cloud as a mercenary, and that was pretty much it. And the only one that
mhm.
really cared about him, that seemingly cared about him, was Tifa, right? And I think it's hard to really change much too because the game isn't like a have you played any of the Tales games?
The Tales games, like
Like
no,
Tales of
I guess not.
Symphonia?
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
played. I only played Tales and Symphonia.
Yeah, because those games do a really good job at like fleshing out characters through just straight up dialogue, where you can actually really understand the characters. The difference with like the Final Fantasy series is it's not really about the dialogue. It's very, if you think about it, it's a very action oriented story. Like it's always moving, and it's more like a movie than it is like an actual like an RPG. Because then it seems like an RPG, but it's basically an action RPG, and the story moves at a not a very slow pace compared to most other JRPGs. And so it's very hard to really like flesh out and nail down the characters through dialogue, because a lot of it has to be done through just subtle movements and the way they act, because it's like it's always moving, right? You don't have time to really sit down and flesh out the characters. I think that is like, it's a good and a bad thing. Because then I would say, if I really think about it, I don't really like as people, as characters. I think that Tifa is pretty boring as a
In
character
in this game or just like overall?
in this game,
Okay.
in this game, because she doesn't really do much except just be Tifa. And at least Aerith is trying, right? Aerith is at least trying, which I like much more. Like obviously look, like when it comes to look wise, I pick Tifa, but personality wise and story wise, Aerith definitely plays a bigger role and makes a bit more sense, and she does a lot more. Um, and Cloud, I mean, he's basically the silent protagonist in a
Yeah.
way, which is fine until like the reveal, but and then I wish that Barrett was more like the original one, where he was just swearing and he was more violent,
Yeah.
and he just didn't care about Cloud.
I think with Tifa, man, like you said, I liked her aesthetic in this game. I loved her look. Like just even like when you see on Twitter like how it was trending at one point with short hair Tifa, like I really
Mhm.
like how they designed Tifa in this game, but like her character was not um I guess she didn't stand out to me. Excuse me. She didn't stand out to me because she was always just like seeking some sort of affirmation from Cloud, or like trying to get to know Cloud. Like she's trying to figure out like why is Cloud so different in this game
Mhm.
versus Aerith, who is like, I'm just gonna do my own thing, and if you want to follow along, just that's on you. Like that's
Mhm.
why like I liked Aerith a lot more than Tifa in this game versus like the original, where I like Tifa a lot more in the original than I did with Aerith. So it's kind of reversed for me. But like but if I really wanted to say, Jesse was my favorite out of the three of them.
Yeah.
But no, I just liked how I guess again it comes back to just being able to play the original, and just having that subconsciously, when thinking about that when you're playing this remake, because you can call back to some of the parts from the old game and kind of compare and contrast, like what was different and what's the same still. But like I said, with Tifa, I wasn't too big on her in this game. I just really just liked how they designed her, and then I mean her voice actors did great too, but Aerith was the one that really like stole the scenes for me, just from when she first meets Cloud to where where they're in Corneo's area and all that stuff, or even when they go through the train tracks or the ghost. The ghost.
I hated the train track. That puzzle,
Yeah.
that was brutal.
So like Aerith was the one that kind of like really made me like enjoy the storyline when it comes to just like characters other than Cloud. So and what I like, it kind of like like not balances up, but kind of makes her even better even towards the end, because now you get to understand like why she was so different too compared to how she was in the original game. Which
Mhm.
again, these topics we'll touch up on later
Oh
in
yeah.
this episode. But we talked about some of the gameplay. We talked about a little bit about the storyline. Was there anything that you did not like? I mean, you kind of brushed up a little bit, but was there anything that specifically that you did not like in this game, in the remake?
A bit too much padding, especially with the ones you actually had to go through. And my biggest issue too would be that there weren't any configurations for your teammates to do certain patterns, because because sometimes your allies are just idiots and would go in and die. And especially you play in hard mode, you need like your range characters to stay in the back and just do damage and stay safe. But like, especially when your characters are getting sleeped and petrified or whatever and immobilized, and you switch to a character, then they're like literally in front of the enemy already. They're getting smacked, and then they get slept and poisoned. It's like, dude, it's like what they need to do is like, because like the Tales, like I'm gonna go back to the Tales series, they do a really good job with like having like a really good complex or like the Gambit system from 12, where
Yep.
you can control your character's behaviors and do things depending on the percentage of health to have a more sophisticated AI behavior pattern that you can control. And I think that I hope that they add that into the next one, which I doubt they will. But that would have been really good if they added that, because it would have added so much more layers of strategy. Because it's just the problem when you're trying to bring turn-based to action is that you like honestly, my like 10 is still like one of my favorite battle systems. Like really, it's so good. But I get it that they're moving away from turn-based, but you lose so many good opportunities, and I think they did pretty good. I would give them like a solid B. Like they did a good job, but they could have done so much better. Because when you play the game, there's so many flaws, and there's just so many OP like strategies that you can just spam that you can just beat the game with.
Yeah. See, that's what I wanted to touch up on, was like the gameplay itself was fun, but it was a little bit too easy. It's a great thing you touched up on the Gambit system, because like till this day I preach about 12, man. Like 12, I believe 12 was one of the most underrated Final Fantasy games, just because people didn't like the tactics look of it. But when you that gameplay, man, like if you don't know how to set up your characters right with the Gambit system, you're wrecked in this game.
Mhm.
And I really wish they had that for the 7 remake, because the Gambit system really, like, you don't it's not being lazy, but like you don't have to worry about like switching characters back and forth. Like you said, you can have one character be a range character, or close range character. You can set someone up as a healer, so like you can do that and not have to worry about like switching back and forth. And like you said before, just being like turned into a frog or sleep or silence, like those ailments hitting all your characters at once, and then you get stunned for like that certain amount of time. It takes a toll. Even playing it on normal, that shit, like if you don't set it up right or play right, and all your characters get put to sleep, everyone takes damage in that battle. So I think it would have been a lot cooler to be able to have more functionality with your other characters.
Mhm.
But I do like that you can switch from one character to another too. So I mean that was also
Mhm.
another great thing. But just that Gambit system, or at least let your characters
Mhm.
know when to, like, kind of like Kingdom Hearts, where you can set your characters to
Mhm.
know when to heal or know when to use certain techniques, because you don't want like another set of Donald and Goofy out there like wasting your items or wasting their
No,
MP.
that's another problem. I think, well, it makes sense. If you look at who developed the combat system, anyways, because it was the team that developed the Final Fantasy 13, which made
Okay.
it was the paradigm system where the stagger. So if you recognize the stagger system from 7, where you had to stagger the enemy to do damage, that's like ripped straight up from Final Fantasy 13.
If anything, the only thing I really liked was just lightning out of that game. Other than that, I wasn't like too big
Well,
on
and the
it.
music, dude,
Oh yeah, the
Musashi,
music was
or
good too. Yeah.
because it was I don't know if, no, it wasn't Kingdom Hearts, but it was Uematsu's predecessor, or his protege. But other than that, the graphics are still pretty good too. If you ever get the chance to play it, I would say 1 and 2 are worth playing. Just don't play 3. 3 is like Nomura on freaking cocaine.
Yeah, but I mean, there was like other things in this game I wish was a little bit different too. Like I think, oh no, actually, no, I'll take that back. I actually I like how in this game, like, there's no save points, which is really
Yeah.
cool too. I like that, like little things like that. I was like, damn, dude, I really like this. I can actually just go and save the game without having to go run to a save
Mhm.
point, or like, trying to do things over again. And so little things like that was really cool, just to add on to this game. But I think, I mean, there's not much to complain with the gameplay aside from what we said, but I think we can kind of go into more deep dive into this story now. I mean, with the 7 remake story, because I think things that were a little bit different were definitely showing more of the I guess like what the Sephiroth remnants,
Yeah.
the unknowns or whatever they're called, like the ones that with the cloak.
No, it's well. I guess we can do a huge disclaimer now. Now we're gonna jump into major spoilers.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
these are major spoilers. But if you guys haven't played it yet, I recommend you play it before we like do heavy. Like we had some minor spoilers earlier, but dude, this is like we're gonna talk about major spoilers.
Yeah,
now.
we're deep diving into the actual storyline. If you want to start your own podcast like Spoiler Force, then sign up with Buzzsprout. Buzzsprout has helped hundreds of thousands of users like me to begin their podcasting journey. With easy-to-use tools, you can effectively get your podcast into different platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and more. You can view your stats, create audio clips, and even have your own podcasting website. Buzzsprout offers ideas, tips, tricks, and tutorials to help you improve your podcast. Follow the link below, and once you sign up, you'll get a $20 Amazon gift card. This will let Buzzsprout know that I sent you and will also support Spoiler Force Podcast. If you want a simpler way to record both video and audio for your podcast, then sign up with StreamYard. StreamYard is the perfect program to create podcasts, host live streams, and even do video calls. There are many tools that can help you create and design your own personal studio. You can screen share, read live comments, and stream to different destinations like Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. You can also download your video and audio once you're done with your recording session. Follow the link below, and once you sign up with the basic or pro plan, you'll earn a $10 credit to use for StreamYard. Happy podcasting.
I forgot what they're called, but they're basically like timeline dementors. Like they're there to protect the original timeline, and which is cool. But as also combat, they're super annoying to fight. They're so stupid to fight.
Well, it was confusing because like they were all cluttered together, and then you're just attacking wherever you're,
and everyone sees it too. And
yeah,
shit's happening. It's like, what the heck is going on? This was not in the original game, and I just don't understand why they had to pick Dementors. Why don't they just do something else, like monsters or something? I don't know. Like
it was really. I mean, I like this aspect of like seeing these time wraiths or dementors or whatever you want to call it, like how they're controlling the timeline. But I mean, story wise, when you look at it story wise, I like it because like they're trying to make sure that this timeline that we're playing stays intact.
The original timeline, yeah.
When you see it like in the broad view, but in just like playing it in the game was just very annoying because they just pop out of nowhere in the storyline. Like there was really no. Like there wasn't any major points up until the end where you really saw what they were doing. Like
unless you play the original game, it doesn't make sense at all. But
exactly,
when you know the original game, it kind of makes sense because they're trying to protect characters that are supposed to die, or they're supposed to make sure characters die, and characters that don't die.
yeah, exactly. So like that, and I guess that's what I was trying to come across. Like someone who has not played the original game playing this game. Those parts of this remake would be very confusing. Or at least I would think when you're playing this because it's not explained well either. Like not even towards the end. Like they don't really explain. They're just like, oh, these are the harbiters of time, and they just trying to they're just trying to save the timeline. But it doesn't make sense because if you don't know the original storyline, then it's just like, okay, and then what else? So there's nothing to add to the remake storyline when you're new playing this game. But I did like that in this game where they kind of like just pop out and Aerith is the first one to see them. Aerith and Cloud can see them, and then like there are moments where like people don't see them and then people can see them. So like that was confusing as well. Like me personally, I would have liked it had it just been our characters that can see them and not like the NPCs.
Yes, true. It's because it's already stupid to begin with. Because either way you do it, it's still going to be kind of dumb in my opinion. And they could have just done it in a different way. I don't know. It just got really out of hand, especially towards the final act with Sephiroth, where the theory was that the three main the three main the Dementor bosses that you fight and then the final realm before you fight Sephiroth. Those theories that it was supposed to be Kadaj and those guys, but they're not. They're actually future versions of Tifa, Cloud, and Barrett.
See, that's where I was confused on that too, because from the looks of it, again, before I even got into like deep diving into the storyline, initially that's what I thought too. I thought it would have made more sense had it been the villains from Advent Children, like Kadaj, Loz, and Yazoo. Like I thought that would have been cool, to kind of call back to the movie because Sephiroth is from the original timeline, and so like that would have been
Well,
a nice.
it's not from the original timeline. It's that because Aerith and Sephiroth are connected to Genova or the live stream, very very heavily connected. They're basically just they're metagaming it. Like they already know they know what happens in the original timeline. Like you can even
Right.
yeah.
They're essentially like the essence of the game. Like they're the
Mhm.
good and the good and bad of that world. You know that it like I don't know if you follow Final Fantasy Union, but they do a great job at like breaking down these characters and storylines. Like I
Mhm.
think there was one video with Final Fantasy Union. What they did was like they kind of talked about the history of Seven, how originally not Cloud, but originally Aerith and Sephiroth were supposed to be like siblings at one point, because that's why their look in the original Seven, they kind of look similar, but then they switched it all up and changed it. But
I thought it was because Aerith is like of the live stream basically. She's an ancient that's very very connected to the ancient. She is basically like the protector of the earth or whatever. What's it called again? Is it called Earth or
Terra or some shit, I don't know.
yeah, she's basically like the like one of the
The
last few
promised
ancients.
land.
Yeah. She's basically like Promised Land Jesus or whatever. She's like one of the last few ancients that are connected to the live stream. Whereas Sephiroth, I think he is sort of connected to the live stream, but because he was heavily infused with Genova cells, he's basically like the ancient of Genova. So and Genova is like she's supposed to be like an alien life form
Yeah.
that's not supposed to be of the Earth, and the whole point of Genova is to destroy everything. And because like the story is so complicated now with the time travel and time aware, it's not even time travel, it's just time awareness, and that the Sephiroth, from what I remember, is that Sephiroth is actually trying to rebel against Genova because he knows that if going with Genova is going to get him killed. Like because he knows what's going to happen. So then what he's trying to do now is he's trying to take away Cloud's motivations of to become stronger. Like for example, he's bringing back Zack, right? He spared Zack so that or he helped Zack survive. He's the main reason why Zack's alive in a different timeline.
Yeah.
Which is more confusing, but which is going to be interesting the way that the second game comes in, because we're in my theory is that we're going to play as Zack and we're going to be even more confused, and because the thing is the game wasn't very clear that it was a different timeline, so that the second game we're going to play as Zack and we're going to be very confused because Cloud may be dead, right? Because Cloud didn't have Zack's death to help him push him forward. Cloud probably is not going to exist in that timeline, and Zack will be the main timeline of the main hero of his timeline. So we may see like alternate versions of like the whole crew, except Cloud probably dead or useless.
Well, before we touch upon Zack, because that's another big one too
That's
that I
true.
wanted to
That's
talk
true.
about. But I think with like what we were talking about, like Sephiroth and Aerith, I think with Sephiroth and Aerith, like I said, they're kind of just like two sides of the same coin. Like they're
Yeah.
the epitome of what's good and what's bad in the lore of Seven. So I
Mhm.
think with Sephiroth though, he's more. I forgot where I read this, but like he's more of like a cancer to the live stream that
Yeah.
they can't get rid of. You know, so him and Aerith are bound by fate to like
It's,
battle each other
it's
forever.
aliens.
Yeah,
Aliens versus
exactly.
Earth. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're forever like enemies, or they're I guess they're forever gonna battle in this, like even beyond like the space of like physical or spiritual,
Hmm.
whatever you want to call it. But I think Sephiroth being this petty though, that this is why I like Sephiroth, because him being this petty to go back in time or to even go to a different timeline and just change, like tweak very little things in the Seven storyline, shows how much he's willing to go and try to just like cause pain and suffering to Cloud, especially to Cloud, because he loses the Cloud.
Hmm.
And I don't know if you read this, but like I think it was I don't know if it was in some sort of light novel or in the movie, but they do kind of mention like how Sephiroth just stayed in the live stream, and how he just kind of like was there, like he's not really even dead. He's just an essence there now. And I think that's why, like, if you watched A Way to a Smile. I think that's the side story in Advent Children, how the geostigma was caused is because Sephiroth caused it. So seeing that kind of like it kind of all like loops back together with like why
Mhm.
Sephiroth is still around even though he's not physically around. But then just to kind of bring it back to like in the remake, like how Sephiroth is just he's wanting to do things differently now that he knows the outcome. And that's why like even towards the end of the game where he like after when him and Cloud have that one-on-one, he's like, he tells him like something about like you have 7 seconds, you got to make that choice. It all comes down to you. Like he's trying to push Cloud to making a different choice. And I think that's what's going to make this storyline very fun in a way where we get to see, okay, so maybe if it's not Cloud that makes these changes, then it's gonna be Zach. Because now that Zach's in this game,
Mhm.
and I remember watching that ending when you beat the game on Twitch, and I was just like, holy shit, dude! Like this completely changes the storyline now because if there's 2 storylines going back and forth, I think it might be like 8 where Cloud has his moments like Squall, and then it goes back to back and
Mm,
forth.
I I think it'll be different because eight is more of a it was a future affecting the past, whereas because it was actual time travel with eight, but with seven, it's not really time travel.
Well,
It's
I'm
more
talking about like more so when you play it in A House Squall when you play a Squall then switch over to his dad to
no, it's
Laguna.
yeah, Laguna.
Yeah,
That that's it. It's not that's like traveling to the past, but they weren't really changing anything. They were just getting a glimpse of the past. So like
but
yeah.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying though. Like with Zach in the picture now, I think that's what it's going to be like. Where not so much the storyline of going back and forth in the past, but you'll play as Cloud at one point and then
Mhm.
switch over to Zach and
Yeah.
then switch back over to Cloud. So you have a lot more. It's not just like Cloud and the gang going out to like Cosmo Canyon and shit. Now you got to
Mhm.
play Zach's storyline to pick up from where Zach left off. Because at the end of 7, he goes to the church and there's no like there's all these people there after the aftermath of when the what was it, Sector 5 or Sector 7
Mhm.
fell, and so he's there, and yeah, I don't want to touch up on the trailer just yet, but like just in the storyline,
I haven't
I
even
look.
watched the trailer yet.
Oh, you haven't? Oh
I have
shit!
not.
Damn, I tagged you. I tagged you in the
No,
Rebirth trailer.
I've been busy, bro. But I'm not even worried about it because when it comes out, I'll play it.
Okay.
I'm ready for it, but I'm just busy. But it's not a big deal. I'm I know it's gonna be better than it has to be better. It's probably going to be better than part one because Numero is less involved.
I mean, I look. Don't get me wrong. I love Nomura's like grand scheme when it comes
Hmm.
to creating the storyline. It's the process that he does that I hate. Like it
Hmm.
takes him forever to get to the next part.
It gets
But then,
overly complicated
yeah,
when it was already good.
yeah. So like in the like when this game is completely done, you can then that's when I'll be like, oh, then Nomura did a great job because like overall, this whole
Yeah.
thing that we're playing is amazing. It's the part of us waiting and then like they're like 7.2 or
Hmm.
7.25 like all this little shit that they do to cash grab us. That's what I hate, and I know
Yeah.
that they're milking the shit out of 7 right now because they are definitely doing that they did that with the 7 remastered, they did that with the Crisis Core remaster, they did that with the mobile games even before we had smartphones. Remember that the one with the Turks on the you could play that on the cell phone.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there was that. Was it like Before Crisis or some shit? Like that was the storyline or
Oh
the
yeah, and
game.
they're re-releasing it with Ever Crisis too. Like
Yeah, and then they're
just
playing
play
Ever
seven again.
Crisis. Yeah. So like
Which looks good though. It looks good. It's just yeah.
it's gonna be a 7 gotcha game for sure. It's gonna be free to
Mm,
play and then a lot of in-app purchases.
yeah, probably.
I mean, Ever Crisis looks pretty interesting just because I could be wrong, but it looks like you can play as Sephiroth in this game. They're
Yeah,
gonna kind of like
you flesh out his story because I saw
yeah,
that trailer of that there you get to flesh out Sephiroth's story a little bit, which is pretty interesting.
like you get to see him as a hero versus what we know as the villain in later
Mhm.
on, which is why I like. That's why I really liked Crisis Core was because you got to see Sephiroth before he turned evil, and I think you kind of like get to see the side of Sephiroth where, man, like he was a good guy. He did everything right. He was like pretty much, the all might of 7 until he just snapped. So
Yeah.
he, so I think like things like that, like overall, like these stories that they have for 7, they're really interesting. I just hate how they do this because I mean, when you look at it on a business side, like they are definitely like cash grabbing the shit out of us. Even with 7 Remake, they did the Yuffie DLC. And that was exclusively for PS5 only. So people who don't have PS5 can't play. I can't play it unless I mean you can play it
Bro.
on Steam though, right? Like you can download it on Steam.
I'm not
And
sure if you could play this in the intermission. I'm pretty sure you can, but Steam's even like PC's even funnier because you can do mods.
Yeah, I know. I saw like a lot of the Resident Evil
Mhm.
remake mods and all that. But it
Yeah.
just go ahead.
Oh no, I don't know how I feel about it, but it makes sense just because like the 7 came out before PS5 anyways. So like I'll give him a pass on that. But no, you should really play it. Like the guy with the staff, Sonnen, dude, he's got a really good story. Like it's just short, but it really
Yeah,
fleshes
I
out
mean,
Yuffie's
I
story.
kind of I figured I know what happens to him. I know he dies.
Mhm.
I haven't had a chance to play it just because I don't have a PS5. But I know that in intermission there is like they dive deep more into to deep ground, which was really cool because I like that nod too. Even in remake, how they kind of they don't show you that deep ground is around, but they give you that, oh shit, so it's still part of the story. Like whoever played Dirge of Cerberus, that game wasn't really wasted because that was an
Mhm.
additional story to after the movie. And that's why like when I saw Deep Ground and then you get to see like Nero and fight Weiss as a side boss or as an extra boss, that made me like really excited because like, man, so that means these characters aren't wasted then, because
Oh
what
yeah.
happened because the Square Enix never like confirmed what they were going to do after Dirge of Cerberus. They kind of like showed
Well, no,
you,
they teased off Genesis. Remember?
yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. That's right. See, that's how long it's been. I forgot like little details. They
Mhm.
teased Genesis at the end of Dirge of Cerberus. If you got the secret ending, and then Crisis Core came after. That's where you got to get to know Genesis. Um, but to bring it all back full circle, like that's what I liked about remake and intermission was that they still brought these characters back. They're not like one and dones.
Mhm.
So I don't know if what they plan to do with it. I really hope that they are. I hope that they're more crucial to the storyline, like just as whether they're
Uh,
enemies or bosses or
I
whatever.
mean, they have to be. Remember, we literally just beat Sephiroth already. There's no way that they're gonna make Sephiroth the final boss again. It's gonna have to be Weiss or Nero. Uh, Honestly, it can be anybody really, which is gonna be fun because we don't know who the final boss is gonna be. But I would be genuinely surprised if they
It's
had
fucking
another.
Nomura.
Dude, if it was Nomura, they would just bring Sephiroth again. Just have another final battle against Sephiroth, and honestly, that would probably be the worst thing they could do because that'd be so boring. Like, oh, you beat Sephiroth in the first game, let's make him the final boss in the second game. It's like, no, like I think they have a lot of options, and I hope they make use of it. Really.
I mean, there's a lot you can do with 7, really. I mean, with all this stuff that's unfolding, like even with Rebirth, like there's a lot that they can. It's more open to change now, which I liked about. I mean, as much as I didn't like how they ended it, I did like this open-ended ending
Hmm.
for 7 because it gives. I mean, to this day, like that's why we're talking about it because they don't solidify like what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Now that they've opened the doors, we're like, all right, it's whatever now at this point. You know,
They literally
it,
open Pandora's box, like
yeah,
literally.
exactly. You can do whatever you want now. Like
Hmm.
for all we know, Titus and Squall can jump in this game, and
I doubt it. I doubt it. It's gonna be
that's a bit
more.
of a stretch, but
Yeah, it's gonna be more just like a time multi-dimensional, more multi-dimensional awareness, and Cloud's just like he's still gonna have no idea what's going on. He's just so
well, no,
confused.
well, to bring that up though, like because we talked about this before, where we think that essentially if this storyline changes, that means Cloud could be written off. Cloud could actually be written off. Like he could not be. He could possibly be not the main character anymore.
Mm,
It could
I
change. It could change to Zack at some point.
I would be
Um,
surprised if they did that. I would say, if anything, they're just gonna really slow down his character development and make it different than it was. Because what they're probably, from what I think, my theory is that they're just gonna what the whole thing is, what Sephiroth is doing is Sephiroth's trying to uh inhibit Cloud's growth so that
Mhm.
Cloud doesn't learn how to forgive himself. Because the whole point is that Sephiroth wants Cloud to keep blaming himself for everything, right? And so that's why, like, now that Zack's alive, or maybe, he's kind of alive, he's trying to sabotage Cloud's growth, and I think that's gonna be kind of padding overall. It's just gonna make the story longer to make Cloud take longer. They're gonna focus more on Cloud's mental health more instead of revealing it towards the end.
Yeah, that's gonna be a stretch, man. Because even in the original game where they kind of like when they revealed Cloud's real past, like that part of the game was pretty long too. Like that arc where you play as Tifa and you go inside Cloud's mind, or even like because at that point you had to play as Sid
Mhm.
because Cloud was out of commission, so you couldn't play him. But like I think with this remake, I think they're definitely gonna gear towards that earlier in the
Mhm.
storyline versus later.
Funny
Um,
though, I saw a video that showed the reason why Cloud was able to sneak up on Sephiroth, even though Sephiroth was way stronger than him. It's because if you go back and play the original 7, Cloud has a materia equipped to him. It's a preemptive strike. That was the reason why he was able to get it. He was because Imperative Strike allows you to ambush enemies behind them and get the first head hidden, and then that it was a funny thing that I didn't never notice is that because Cloud literally when you play that mission where Cloud in Niflheim, Cloud literally has a preemptive strike materia equipped on him, which is the reason why he was able to get that strike on Sephiroth.
that that's I forgot about that. I didn't know that, but I think that's another thing too, because I think with we can kind of go into Rebirth now too, because you didn't watch the trailer, but with Rebirth they
uh,
kind of
I saw the first trailer, the one where Sephiroth's walking with Cloud, and
did you see like where they showed like the gameplay and them being in
mm-mm.
Cosmo Canyon and all that? Okay,
Yo, can we watch it together? Are we able to do that on this thing?
I mean we could watch it, but I don't know if um
Like, are we able to do like 3 screens, one screen showing the trailer while we watch it together and react together?
I think so. Hold on, let me try this because I don't know if I don't want to get flagged on YouTube. That's why. So
Oh, well, it's a trailer. Oh, that's true.
I'm just assuming that because it's gonna be a much bigger world that it's gonna be a lot more to play with. Now the thing is though, I don't think it'll extend the storyline as far as we think it would, only
Yeah.
because they're gonna focus more on this like going back and forth to Chocobo Ranch or going to Nibelheim and going to like all that's gonna be a lot more just traveling than really
Hmm.
progression of the storyline. But like you said, they could add on like Weiss or Nero or even some of the Wu Tai stuff. I mean, you still got Vincent because
Oh yeah.
if we get to Cosmo Canyon, for sure you're getting Vincent. There's no way you're gonna pass that.
Well, no, it's not true because remember you could beat the game without getting Vincent or Yuffie.
But I'm sure they're with remake. I'm sure they have to. I don't think there's gonna be no way
Uh,
you're not getting Vincent.
Cause
Vincent's so much of a fan favorite to miss.
yeah. Well,
But
no,
let's
it's a fan favorite to save on for later because I think that they're gonna end the Rebirth is gonna end when Cloud starts going crazy.
could be like. Do you think they'll have Sid though, or do you think they're saving
Oh,
Sid later?
uh,
Because Sid's the last guy we get.
is he? I
Was
thought
it
he
Sid or
wasn't.
is it Kate Sith?
No,
Is it Kate Sith?
uh,
That's the last one.
it was Kate Sith, I think, because Yuffie and Vincent, you could just skip. You could easily skip them,
Right.
and then because Sid, you got Sid on pretty early too. Because after you yeah, Sid was like the next one you get after after you leave Midgard.
Oh, okay.
Because remember the spaceship and whatever, and the Turks are chasing
Yeah.
you.
His rocket didn't
Hmm.
work.
Yeah, so Sid, you get Sid next, and then Kate Sith is technically the last one,
Oh yeah,
right?
because you Kate Sith at the Vegas area.
Yeah.
Uh, that's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe. I mean. I mean, do you think that they'll let us get all the characters in this second part, or do you think they have to split it up?
I'd be surprised if we did because it makes more sense to space it out and then so that they could focus more on Yuffie for sure. I'm pretty sure it'll be Yuffie because they already they teased her in the side mission. So it's most likely gonna be it's most likely we're either gonna get all three or just two of either Sid. For sure we're getting Sid, and probably we're gonna for sure we're getting Yuffie. So we're either gonna get both Sid and Kate Sith, or we're just gonna get Sid and Yuffie, and then they're gonna save Kate Sith and Vincent for the final game.
Yeah, I don't. I think with Vincent though, Vincent's a tough one, man. I really hope that they let us get Vincent in this second one, but it would make it. I wouldn't be mad though if they saved him for the last game, because of how much of a fan favorite this guy
Yeah.
is. Because
Well,
everyone's waiting for Vincent's to show up like
it
that.
makes sense,
Even for me,
though.
like
This game's gonna end on a really dark note, and then if this is the last game, because it could be. I mean, this could be the last game too. But if there is a part 3, which I'm pretty sure there is gonna be one, it would make sense to bring in Vincent on the third one, because then we're gonna start in a very, because honestly, it's gonna be like Star Wars, the Revenge of the Sith. It's gonna end on a very bleak note, and we're gonna start on a very bleak note on the third game, and that would be like a great time to bring up Vincent because it's even more depressing.
yeah. But I don't know, man. Like I said, there's so, because the way how they ended it to where it's just open ended. There's so much you can do,
It's true.
and we still gotta. There's still Zach. Like in the
That's
beginning of
true.
that trailer, what we've seen, maybe that's what Zach saw.
Yeah.
And there's still that, and then there's just a lot
Oh yeah.
that could happen
Because
because
that trailer pretty much showed that they were probably dead, right? And then watch it be like Zach, Jesse, and all the other characters.
characters that we don't care about, they're the main ones in Zach's
Yeah.
storyline.
That could work.
Yeah. So it could be a lot of things going on, and maybe that's why it's 2 discs. Maybe 1 disc is Cloud, maybe 1 disc is Zach. So
Possibly.
either so
Yeah.
there's a huge toss up right now. That's why me and Bobby, we've been when we saw 7 drop, we're just like, dude, we're gonna chip in for a PS5. There's no this is the game to get for a PS5. So it's just, I don't know, man. I can't say anymore because I think I've said enough what I thought about this game.
Yeah.
It's just at this point now it's just all theories, because it could,
Oh, yeah.
we can talk theories forever. Nothing's confirmed, and I like that 7 is very secretive about this, how they made us wait. This is the only time I'll appreciate them making us wait, because I think if they said anything more, the internet would come up with so much shit that it'd be even more confusing. So it's just, I really appreciate that 7 is still making us anticipate what's going to happen, and it's not like where it's not so predictable, because
Yeah.
let's say even with the ending of Rebirth, what if they don't end it? If they end it where Aerith dies, I'd be okay with it still.
That's true.
But
Well, and she might not even die.
exactly, yeah, she might not even die. So who
Mhm.
knows?
Yeah, and 16 comes out tomorrow too, so it's like, oh my goodness.
Oh, yeah. I heard 16 got some good ratings so far.
Oh,
So
it's people are saying it's gonna be game of the year.
oh
So
shit.
I already bought my deluxe edition for $100.
Damn. Is it more? Is it like Warcraft, or is it actual Final Fantasy?
It's Final Fantasy. It's action. It's a refined version of 7 and 15.
Oh, okay.
So,
I
but
was
no,
thinking
that's another conversation though.
yeah, I was thinking they were doing it like 14 or some shit. That's what I thought.
I'm not
So,
sure if you can play it on PS4 because there's a demo that you can play, a 2-hour demo, and then when you buy the game, you start off right where you left off for the demo.
damn, dude. I wish demos were like that when we were young. Holy
Oh,
shit.
dude, just look at the gameplay. I wasn't even gonna get it, and then I saw gameplay. I'm okay, I gotta get it.
I've seen the cinematic cuts already, and it looks impressive. But
Oh, yeah.
that's why I thought it was another Warcraft or Diablo type thing, because those games are because Diablo just came out too. So I thought
No, it's
I
like
thought they were aiming towards that audience again. But if it's an actual JRPG
It-
storyline game,
it's gonna be like
then
7.
yeah, okay.
But yeah,
Damn.
that's another topic. But yeah, I'm gotta get a PS5, man.
I'll by the time I get the PS5, I'm sure there'll be like another intermission for Rebirth. So,
Possibly. This is why I work 7 days a week now.
so
I
you can
have
play
my
your
PS.
games.
No, so that I can buy my games, but that doesn't make it play it. I have a PS5, but I never touch it because I'm always working.
Oh man, I think we touched up quite a bit for 7, man. Like I
Yeah.
can't really think of more to add. I mean, like I said,
I,
the
I will say though that my opinions after I because I just that the ending left me with a bad taste in my mouth. I just did
mhm.
not like it. But I think that was partially because of my own biases too. It's more of a purist. Or
Mhm.
not purist. It's is it a purist or
Yeah, because you want to stay true to the
yeah, I
actual
think because
storyline.
I genuinely want to stay true to the main story, but after time it's like it's fine, I guess. With all the theory
Yeah.
crafting,
And letting it digest and all that.
yeah.
See, I think that's what's different for me and you though, because like you played it, like I said, you played it when it dropped. So
A- And
everything,
I had high I set the expectations really high.
yeah. So you got to play it as before all the shit happened, before all this
Mhm.
theory crafting happened, before the
True.
internet took it and made all this. I got to play it after all this stuff was talked about already. So
Yeah.
I'm playing it with like a very broad view of like, okay, so I know what to expect from this game. I know what's gonna happen, but now I get to experience it myself. So it's good and it's bad. I like I said, I wish I got to play it when it
Yeah.
dropped. That way I could say like maybe my opinions would have been like yours, more like yours,
Yeah.
versus like me playing it now, where like
I still
I
think overall it's a little bit of a negative because then look at the Marvel. They're doing the same thing. Timelines, travel, different
yeah,
dimensions. So it's
multiverse is outplayed now, man. It's not cool no more.
well, it's a great way to milk up. It's a really good way to milk a franchise. If it is actually
Yeah,
the one of the best ways to milk a franchise at the moment.
yeah, but like also like when you look at it in a writing aspect, it's such a cop out, which I hate.
Absolutely.
I hate it. That's why I hate the multiverse right now. Like that's why like okay, side tangent here. Like the movies like Everything Everywhere All at Once was or Spider-Verse were very good like multiverse stories.
Hmm.
I like that. They use the multiverse in a way where
It
it
made sense.
it, it helps the story. But what MCU is doing and what Nomura is doing or whatever Square is doing with the multiverse, like it's very drawn out and played. Like that
Yeah.
okay, so they're gonna rely on the multiverse because that now it could be like, oh, well, we didn't like this, so all right, let's just
Hmm.
switch it up. Like it's a cop out.
It's because they can't really come up with anything more original. So instead of actual originality and making like a better Final Fantasy game, it's just kind of rehashing and on nostalgia, but also using the multi dimension aspect or even time travel to kind of change things up. So which makes sense, but it is as a writing perspective, writing wise, it is absolutely a cop out.
It's just a way for them to go back and like redo their
Hmm.
mistakes. But I mean, like I said, there's pros and cons to it. Like we can go on
Hmm.
all day about this.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just it's just like I don't like when I don't like knowing that I know that they do that.
Oh yeah,
Like, so, like
I know.
we know that they're doing this on purpose. So like that's what I don't like.
Well, no,
So
because we lived during a time where all the games were original. Like
yeah,
all the five, dude, they're original. Like why can't like they just? I just don't think they hire good writers anymore. I just don't. I don't understand.
they are definitely cashing in on nostalgia. I'm not gonna lie. Like even like I
Mhm,
said, even when I played this, when I played remake, I was like the nostalgia was real, and they
mhm,
definitely capitalized on that. Like just from the beginning music to the opening train sequence, that all that like that was pure nostalgic value right there. That made me feel like a kid again. But then it's just
mhm.
I just man I just wish that there was just things that were different. Of course, I'm just repeating myself now at this point, but
Yeah.
I think with Seven Remake, like as 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 we learn more about what they're doing, I think overall in the big picture, it's going to be a great story. It's just
Yeah.
I oh here's another theory. Do you think that they're going to do the whole like Spider-Verse thing where we run into Advent Children, like the main story cloud?
It's possible, but I doubt it because it wouldn't. It's possible, but they'd have to make it make sense. Because I feel like it doesn't really make any sense to do that at this point. Because then it's called remake, right? So they're remaking the main timeline. So this is the new main timeline, whereas the original timeline is the PS1 version.
Mhm.
So I would say probably not, but there's a chance though.
I only think like this because of the voice recasting. So like they recasted all of pretty much 7 remake,
Mm-hmm.
and then the original cast for Advent Children, which is part of the main storyline. Like those people were not recasted. Even Steve Bloom, from what I've seen, Steve Bloom has said that they have not reached out to him about playing Vincent again. So I don't. If he's not Vincent, then I'm sure I know a lot of fans are gonna flip out. So, but that's why I'm thinking like, okay, so maybe the end game of 7 is like where we see this like this I guess this Nexus event, right? Like in Loki, like this Nexus event where this diverging event where the characters from remake and then the characters from the original storyline cross paths at this point, and in the middle of it is Zack. Like Zack is the middle of this, and whether he lives or dies changes the story.
I still think he's still going to be a supporting character. He's just going to have more of a role compared to the original game.
Yeah, for sure he's gonna be a bigger part. Like there's no way they're like, see that's the thing. That's what like Zack was such a big part, at least for me. Like one of my favorites in 7 was because the way how they made his story in Crisis Core, where you can just relate to this dude in a 24-hour gameplay, and then they just take him out. They just like,
yeah,
bro. I think a lot of fans just want to see either Zack and Aerith together, or see like Zack alive again, just so that to give him, I guess, more justice, because the way how he went out, of course he went out a hero, but like when you see how he goes out in 7, it's just like, damn, like it sucks that he went out that way.
Well, no, it was one of those things where he was just a stepping stone. Like he was played off as the main character, and he was like a really good character, like strong, and he was everything you would want in a main character. But he ended up being just a stepping stone for Cloud, which is fine. But he was basically a stepping stone for Cloud to grow as a person.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's exciting to know that we could possibly play Zack again, and just see where and this is where it comes down to. Like this is why I want to play Rebirth. I just want to see what they do with Zack. Because the way how they ended it with remake, like that, like you saw my post on Facebook, like where they show like the Cloud, Aerith, and Zack walking opposite directions, like that little cutscene right there, that hit me in the feels. I was just like, man, they just.
It goes back to Advent Children. The reason why Cloud was able to beat Sephiroth is because of Aerith and Zack's sacrifice.
Just man, I can't wait to see what they do with Zack. And again, like another side tangent, like just another analogy I like to use, because it's like seeing Ren Goku come back in Demon Slayer and him not being dead. So like that's how I compare Zack to when it comes to like the storytelling. He's like the Ren Goku of this game. He's the character everyone likes but is dead, and then he's the big what if, like, well, okay, well, if he was alive, what would happen? And that's exactly what we're gonna get with Zack.
I think Rengoku had honestly, they both had really good deaths for sure. I think the only difference is that I like Cloud's reaction better than Tanjiro, because Tanjiro is just a crybaby.
True, yeah.
Because if you think about it, from like after you get rid of all that emotion of what, because I loved it too, but like when you look at how it's the problem with like my issue with Tanjiro and the three Stooges, because they're so flamboyant with their personality, and then when they cry and the way they act, it's not very realistic, right? And then, but you look at the way that Cloud reacted to Zack's death, that's like way more realistic. Like it was more, the music played well, and both music was good, but like the way he reacted to Zack's death was something that more akin to what a human would do when they realize someone that dies, versus like Tanjiro like crying and then swearing a revenge against his enemies, and then having a good time crying with his buddies and seeing a better future.
Yeah, I think with with whatever they do with the remake storyline or even with Rebirth, man, I just hope that they don't disappoint us because there's a lot riding on this now. Now that we've seen this trailer and now that we can kind of guess where they're going,
Oh yeah.
there's a lot of
It confirmed a lot of what we already thought of.
yeah, exactly. So like that's why that's why I don't want to set my expectations too high either because like I don't want to be like, oh yeah, we end up like you just like just like
That's true.
disappointed at the end.
That's why I'm not excited at all right now because I'm ready for it.
And that's what's hard about these games, man. Like it's just because you don't want to rely on nostalgia either, especially playing a game that we know what happens in the story. It's just we just want something refreshing in this game. So
we want to catch that feeling we used to have when we played games back then. Like back when Kingdom Hearts was actually cool to have. When gaming wasn't popular, that was like, dude, when you saw their friends with Kingdom Hearts 2, it was like, bro, that was awesome. And then playing 7 and 8 for the first time, like they weren't really kids game, but we still played them. And then like that first experience of gaming that we had, we're just trying to find that feeling. But I think that's just never gonna happen in my opinion.
Oh yeah, no, not with like DLCs and all that. That's never.
Yeah,
because we got to experience full games, not partial games.
And we're adults now too. Like we can buy all the games, but we don't have all the time to really invest anymore either.
Yeah. I know. Like, for me, like look how long it took me to play Remake, man. 3 years after the game dropped, and I finally got to play it.
It's never too late. It's just that the spoilers.
Yeah, but before we end things, Moang, thank you so much for just jumping back on, making time to do this. I know you've been pretty busy working 7 days a week and all that. So it's really fun to talk to you and nerd out about this game with you again, man. Like I wish we could have done this sooner, but it's better now than never doing it ever.
Oh, yeah.
So but you got any last words, man, about 7 at all or anything else before we wrap this up?
There's just so many games now. I would say it's definitely worth playing. I think people should play Remake. Well, honestly, I think people should play the original. You should go to the PSN store, just download the remastered edition of 7. Play that. You can skip Dirge of Cerberus, but you should play the original 7 and
watch the movie.
And you also kind of have to play. Well, you don't have to play Crisis Core, but you should play Crisis Core. Or you can just do a recap, but I think playing Crisis Core would add the 3 things. The 3 things is play the original 7 on PS1, watch the movie, and play Crisis Core. Those 3 are kind of a must.
Yeah. Dirge of Cerberus is definitely a stretch.
Just watch the cutscenes.
Yeah. Because I mean, yeah, I would that I would have to agree with. Just if you're interested in Dirge of Cerberus with Vincent's storyline, just watch the cutscenes because. I mean, I still have the game on PS2. I loved it, but it's definitely a much different take on 7 because it's solely Vincent, So it's not like, it's not like you're playing Cloud or anything. You're playing just Vincent, so it's different. But storyline wise, it definitely gave you like a big like what the hell at the end because none of that shit got closure. So that's why like. I would prefer folks if you have time to play Dirge of Cerberus, just play it, but it's not crucial to the storyline unless you want to know who Deep Ground is. That's it.
Yeah, and Wais.
Yeah. It'll just clear up who they are in intermission.
Yeah, but other than that, yeah, for sure, I would say 7 right now is probably the better modern Final Fantasy game to play because I think the combat people would generally enjoy the combat and the cutscenes are really great. But no, and also 16 comes out in like 2 days, and I heard that's gonna be good. So there's that too. So I don't know. I'm excited. I'm trying not to. I think I'm trying to learn from my first mistake of not having too high expectations.
Well, by the time this episode drops, 16 will be out. So I think we'll see a lot of reviews on 16 by the time this episode drops.
It's okay. I get 25% discount at GameStop and. Plus, I already have I can literally just because I have the physical copy. And when I work at GameStop, I have the boxes, and I could put. Dude, working at GameStop is like, they don't pay you a lot, but the perks are great because I can pick up like hold games on for myself, and I get tons of discounts. And I've been working on my PS4 collection. It's big right now.
All right, well, this has been fun, man. Hopefully, I can have you back on another episode where we talk about anime or some shit again.
True.
Yeah, but I think that's it, man. So I don't think there's much else to add on besides just continuous rambling. But for anyone who is tuning in, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Spoiler Force. What I'm trying to do after this episode, let's see, what's after this. So there is a Bullet Train review that I'm working on, and then there's also let's see, what am I saying? Oh, I'm also going to talk about Gundam, The Witcher Mercury, and then after that will be the Spider-Verse's movie. So Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse, which I'm trying to see if I can make those 2 episodes back to back. So I don't know how I'm gonna do that one because that one's gonna be pretty tough. And I got like 6 people lined up wanting to talk about Spider-Verse. So I gotta really sort that out. But hopefully by that time, by the time this episode drops, hopefully by that time I'll have like some episodes recorded and all that stuff settled. But yeah, like, share, subscribe to Spoiler Force. Go follow Moang on Instagram. I'll have his links in the description and stuff. And I don't know if you don't really, do you still Twitch?
No, I don't. I don't play games much either. I'm just working, and I'm posting on Instagram a bit more. And then once I start getting into jiu-jitsu again, I'll be doing a lot more posting of that. But right now, it's mostly just working on myself. The weight loss is a big one.
Yes,
And
yes, for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, follow Moang's weight loss journey and his jiu-jitsu journey, because we're definitely gonna be. I'm definitely gonna have him on the show again just to talk about like
Then
Muay Thai and all that.
next time we hang out, we can spar.
Yes, because I have gear now.
and not hurt each other. That's a big one.
I have gear now, which is fun. I know I'm dude, like I'm trying to like save up to get legit like Muay Thai brand gear. The Venom stuff's great. Don't get me wrong. Venom is a great starting point, but I really want to get like Yakao and Fairtex.
Give it a few months first. Yeah, you got to get that. Do they do belts, or how do they do their rank ups at their gym?
Well, really, Muay Thai doesn't have belts, which I never liked the belt system in Muay Thai because there is no belt system in Muay Thai.
Well, I mean, like, how do you tell like who's what rank or whatever?
You don't. You just go and the coach determines on your skill. Like
okay.
the where I'm training at is Rogue Jiu-Jitsu in Grapevine,
Okay.
Grapevine, Texas. So the coach that I have, Chad Snyder, shout out to Chad and shout out to Rogue. Chad is a student of Saxons, which is in Plano. The coach in Saxon, or the coach Saxon, the coach of that's in Plano, he's a legit like Muay Thai coach. Like he's from Thailand. Like he's a legit coach, and they actually have like another gym in Carrollton here in Texas. So, my coach Chad is a student of him. Okay. And Chad does also jiu-jitsu and stuff, and he's a coach too. He's the head coach for Muay Thai, but he also coaches jiu-jitsu as well. I haven't done any jiu-jitsu training. I'm just doing strictly Muay Thai just because that's what I can afford at the moment.
Okay.
But I've been going for a little over a month now, but there's no belt system. He kind of just teaches everyone like the basics, basic defense, basic footworks, basic technique. And then like through our sparring sessions, like he kind of evaluates us through that. Like he sees like, okay, so he sees like, okay, so this let's say so-and-so is more, he's more adept, or this person's still a newbie, or this person's more serious about their training.
Yeah.
Then he kind of like adjusts by that. But it's not like, but the perks of Rogue is like, it's not a big school. So the coach can actually have a lot of time with you depending on who's there.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
Is it like you pay a monthly fee and then you go as many classes as you want?
I go 3 times a week because it's only 2 classes a week for $100 a month, which isn't bad.
Okay.
It's just, for me, it's very convenient because I don't have to drive too far anyway. It's only like a 10-minute drive for me. There was like other MMA spots near my workplace, but I don't want to like drive back and forth because here in Texas, it's very time consuming to drive here in Texas. So driving to Rogue, driving to Rogue isn't bad, and plus Bobby goes with me too. So we go twice a week, and then depending on our Saturdays, we go on Saturdays for open mats. But recently I just went to an open mat with Rogue, and we were helping one of our guys who's trying to go amateur, and we got to spar with another with another group of fighters, and I feel bad. I forgot what their school is called, but their coach knows our coach, and so they were just like, hey, let's just bring our guys and just work together. So we did like almost an hour and a half of just straight up sparring nonstop, and so that was really fun. I was surprised I survived that, and so
Is it a gi or no gi?
no, it's just Muay Thai.
Oh, just Muay Thai. Okay.
Just Muay Thai, yeah. But yeah, one of our guys is trying to go amateur Muay Thai, so
Okay.
that's why like our coach went to speak with his friend who's another coach, and that's why we got to spar with their guys. And so
How far is the war main to
War Man?
Yeah.
War Man's in Minnesota. So
I thought that
yeah.
was Texas.
War Man's in Minnesota. I like War Man because the head coach is Moang.
Okay.
So I think his name's Gu Lee. I think that's his name. He fought in
Okay.
Glory, and
Oh.
then Maita, who was one of his fighters, she was on the show too. So and then I think her boyfriend Loka is in that same team with Warman, but I haven't watched. I've seen some of his like his training stuff, like nothing too much, but he looks he seems very legit. And then like I have another friend named Su Chan who was on the show, who's been on the podcast too, and he's training at Warman. And then another friend Van Brooks who worked and trained at Warman. So it's like that's why like I really support Warman a lot just on social media because I like what they do. But man, I would love to go and if I'm ever in Minnesota, I'm definitely dropping by just to take like a 1-day class and just to see them and and speak with the head coach. But me and Bobby's goal is we're gonna train with Rogue, because it's close by. But then one of our goals is to like check out Saxons in Plano and go do like and just drop by and see how they run their classes, because Plano is like 45 minutes from where I live. But then
that's far.
Yeah, but Saxons is like a legit Muay Thai gym. I'll send you the link, or I'll send you their Instagram link.
Yeah.
Dude, like they're legit, dude. They have a bunch of killers in that gym. That's why me and Bobby were like, man, I don't think we're ready to drop by and visit yet.
I got killers in my gym too. I do jiu-jitsu with all the MMA guys too, and like, trust me, it's like I'm like at 210, and there's guys that are like 130 that just like they catch me in triangles all day.
Yeah, Rogue has some really legit like jiu-jitsu guys. I wish we had more folks in our Muay Thai classes. We got like one or two really good people that'll show up, but then like it's just not on a consistent basis. So we have like one guy that like I said, the one kid who's gonna go amateur. I always see him every classes at Muay Thai, and then there's always like young bucks there. But then like I think with summer coming around, like they're probably working because they're very young still. They're like high school going to college type, so they're very young still. So anyone who lives in the Grapevine area, go check out Rogue, man, because we need more people. We need more bodies in there, because it can't just be like me, Bobby, and like 2 or 3 other guys. Like I would love to have more bodies and to work with more people. But
that's why I got the advantage, man. I got Rufus for it. There's so many people.
True. It's just, yeah, I mean, there's pros and cons. I just like Rogue. I get smaller, but like I get more time with the head coach, and that's what I look for. I mean, nothing wrong with big gyms, because you get more bodies to train with. But I personally, through my experiences, I just didn't like the big gym feel, because I knew that the coaches weren't paying attention to you.
It's because there's so many people going in and out.
Yeah, and like they not saying all gyms are like this, but the majority of these gyms, when they're focusing on their team and their fighters, that's what they're doing. Like they'll have assistant coaches that'll help you, who are still good or even just as good, but it's not where you're not the focus. It
doesn't feel as personal. It's not as personal.
Yeah, they're the guys that bring in their money. That's who they're focusing on.
Yeah, or just like the main fighters. Yeah, like that my gym, like obviously like Sergio and all the main fighters are the number one.
Tyron Woodley and
oh man,
Ben Askren.
Oh my goodness. Ben Askren.
Have you seen Ben Askren yet?
I haven't seen him at all there.
Is he still on the wall or no? He's not on the wall, right?
I have no.
Or is Woodley still on the wall?
I've only seen Woodley, Pettis, and both Pettis and Woodley. Yeah, that's it. I haven't seen. They might have gotten rid of it. I don't know.
Because the last time when I was last in Wisconsin, the last time I was in Wisconsin, when your dad took me to do Rufus Sport, I saw
Sergio.
But like when I walked in the gym, I saw Sergio at the gym. But then when I walked in the
Yeah,
the
that's their room.
the
Oh
stairway. Yeah, that's where you see like the mannequin, not a mannequin, but like the wall of like
yeah.
Woodley and Pettis, and
I haven't
that's what I
seen
saw.
I haven't seen Ben there. No,
Oh, okay. And maybe he moved away.
probably. I would say he probably got disgraced the most out of everybody. I feel bad for him because he probably had the worst law, one of the worst laws, because he's like the reason why like George is like popular to this day.
Yeah. He-
Unfortunately,
he's forever a highlight, which sucks.
he's
But
forever Jorge's.
yeah, he's forever Jorge's highlight, dude. Like dude, and they're never gonna let that go. Facebook always reposts videos, and that's what you're always gonna see.
No,
So
I think it's so annoying because I followed Jorge back in the day, and then George doesn't even run his page. It's just like bots that run his page that posts
Mhm.
random shit. It's like, dude, it's like I just had to unfollow it because it's so like it's not even like authentic. It's just like
yeah,
mostly just for views and clicks.
yeah. No, that's what a lot of these social media people do, and they just hire folks to manage their pages.
There's no personality. There's no personal. Well, I still think Connor's pretty funny.
Bro, don't even get me started on Connor. That's a whole nother episode, man.
Hey
Like,
man, juice just it's all. I should start taking juice. Damn.
shit, Coke, proper 12 and juice, shit. Might as well. No, but yeah, dude, like I this will be a fun like extra 10 minutes for people to listen to. So but yes, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Spoiler Force. Make sure you follow Moang on Instagram where you see his health journey and jiu-jitsu journey and getting back into kickboxing again. And yeah, dude, like
both of us, man.
yes, I can't wait to talk to you again, bro. Thank you for doing this. Thank you guys. This is episode 167. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Thank you guys, and have a great day. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to give a review and rate Spoiler Force Podcast. If you want to get all Spoiler Force updates or even peeks at behind the scenes, you can join the Spoiler Force Discord community. And if you'd like to show support, give tips, recommendations, sponsorships, or any collaborations, you can email me at rickyvang92@gmail.com.